since we're talking about the many years that you've spent here at L&T and the many milestones that you've been able to achieve, one of your big milestones has also been, in a sense, to protect the company from any possible takeover threats. And I remember reading where you said that a big market cap will protect us from a future potential takeover threat as well. Does that continue to concern you? Does that continue to be a worry for you?
Less than ever before, because we had, that time, we didn't have even a single share with the employees, or with, you can say, if Mr. Larsen and Tubro were promoter, we are actually the extension of that promoter. And today, our foundation, like a Tata Trust, similar foundation, L&T Employee Foundation, owns 12.5%, for 21,000 crores. To an extent that was done to ring fence. That time when we sold cement to Mr. Birla and bought over all the engineering part of the shares in a split company. And that is really today worth 21,000. Because when we did it in 2004, it was worth 3,000 crores. But the company's market cap has gone up 70 times since then. I mean, I remember I took over in 99 April and had a problem immediately. It was a bad year, 212 crore profit, and there were some contracts given which should not have been given, and it took me some time to sort it out. And November 2001, Mr. Birla bought the shares from Reliance, and then of course 2002 he started buying more shares. So it was clear that they possibly want some control, and that is the time all these tussles started, if you want to call it a tussle. And it went on for a year and a half. At the end, it ended well. I sold the cement, which was anyway non-core. I had already declared that I would sell it. And we bought engineering. We got 12.5%, worth few thousand crore, which today is 21,000. So not few thousand, few hundred crore. The total market cap was 2,500. So I think it has worked well. It was the purpose was to ring fence L&T. And to an extent it has ring fence. Plus 15% stock options were given to 2,500 employees. And if you really look at today, 7 to 8% have not yet sold. So if you combine the two, that block of shares is 20%. And don't forget, we are the second largest shareholder after LIC. LIC is 16, we are 12.5. So things have somewhat changed, not making it easy for anyone to really take over.
I also want to ask you a question on the government holding via Suti in L&T, and very recently they did offload about 2% in the company. You know, there's been this talk around whether the government should continue to hold on. Why does it continue to hold on? It's a strategic investment because L&T is a defense play. Where do you stand on this, and have you had any conversation with the government on them retaining the stake via Suti?
I mean, I had more active discussion before the 2004 because we had nobody to protect. Now we have ourselves 12.5 and plus 8, 20%.
So now you're not concerned if they were to sell?
Well, if they sell 3–4%, I really don't mind. Or I'm not going to run to them and say, please don't sell, please don't sell.
So they're currently about, what, hold about 4% via Suti?
Suti is 3.5.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter to you any longer whether they continue to hold or not?
Anyway, it's going from one pocket to other. They sold it to LIC.
LIC, yes.
So it has not gone into private hands. Neither it is such a big block that anyone who wants to control the company will come and buy.
Okay, so let me then ask you, Mr. Naik, as you look at the targets that you've set out for yourself as part of Lakshya 3, and given the fact that the domestic environment continues to be a little soft, the international environment looks better in comparison.
No, Middle East is bad.
Middle East is bad, but the global recovery seems to be underway at this point in time. In the future, the 30-odd% that you get from international operations today, do you see that changing significantly? Would that be a larger consideration for you going forward?
No, really. I think because the Middle East was our mainstay, and that was doing about 4,000 crore per year. No, $4 billion a year. and now it has come down to 3.5 billion. So I would say 20% is coming from Africa, Middle East, and so on, and 10% is technology, service, and infotech. So all together, 35% has become 30 now.
Right.
So it's not going to grow much more unless we develop new markets.
Okay.
And the new market.
Is that a priority, developing new markets at this point in time?
It's a priority in where you can say Indians are more at ease to work. Like Africa, we can work some part of Africa. Middle East, we can work. Far East, we can work. But we are not going to go to Europe and say we'll do projects there, or for that matter in United States. So therefore, 1,50,000, we are already at 1,20,000 crore as a group. 1,50,000 crore is doable. Even with this not so favorable situation that we are in, we would have been more than 1,50,000. Maybe we would have surpassed the target by 10–20%. But 1,50,000, what we have targeted as such as an internal 5-year plan remains. And that I think we will achieve. We have already touched 1,70,000 crore worth of market cap. You know, when I took over, it was 2,500 crore.
That's right.
So now 2.5 to 120 is roughly 70 times what I told you. And that to go to 2,50,000 should not be difficult. I think we will be able to achieve that by 2021. So our 5-year plan is on track. I won't say that the situation is much better much better from the point of view of exceeding our target.
Right.
But we'll just about meet.
Just about meet the 5-year target that you've set for yourself. But again, talking about the future, in terms of possible listings, in terms of where you see the core verticals of the conglomerate, you know, is that going to be something that you will push forward? Is that going to be an area of priority? We
have already done it. As I said, we separated out in our strategic plan all the businesses which possibly are non-core or relatively less core. And that's what I told you as my main responsibility even beyond 1st of October, because they are half done. I have to finish that in a year or two, and they are not going to be part of L&T. So CEO and MD doesn't have to worry, and if he tries to divert his attention, the company will suffer. So that as a chairman, I'm doing it, and I'm going to make sure that the company is much better organized. Leaner and fitter.
Leaner and fitter. But also, are you looking at the possibility of more listings? I mean, you listed Infotech, for instance. Are you looking at the possibility of
at some point
more
after, I mean, next 2 to 3 years, no. Our next review will be in 2020. Whether there are 1 or 2 business which possibly could list, like hydrocarbon. Long time back, we had an idea about 2–3 years ago to list power like PHA. But situation is so bad in power that the listing will not make any shareholder happy. So that we have shelved for the time being. But hydrocarbon is on the cards in 2 to 3 years. In 2 to 3 years. You know, you just talked about how the situation is very bad in the power sector. If you look at the portfolio today, and you know, again, this links back to the state of the economy, where do you see the recovery will take the longest? You mean recovery will take faster or? The longest. It will take more time to be able to recover. Power will take a long time. And when I tell you how we entered into building a brand new world's latest plant, I think someday you have to go to Hazira. Last time also I told you. Yes. It's one of the pride of India. That's where we have made a new shop for conventional submarine. We make the outer body of nuclear submarine. We build nuclear reactor. We build mega reactor for hydrocarbon. We make boilers, brand new plant. Up to 1,000 megawatt turbine, the biggest Ford shop in this part of the world. I mean, it's like a little city tour, but industrial city tour. And I would say that a lot of that facilities which we had created are partially idle. That is the power part. Turbine is not even 40% busy. Boiler only because we are able to export. We are busy for next 2 years.
So when you hear things like the Commerce Minister is now calling private investors to look at the possibility of getting private investment to move, to pick up, do you see any signs of that? Because as you pointed out, capacity utilization, still well...
I really don't see any major investment forthcoming, because you can say 65% of those who invested heavily in the past are under financial restructuring with respect to banks to repay the loans and so on. And balance 30 to 40%, that cycle of investment is nearly over. You see, Reliance had tremendous liquidity and credibility, but their investment, whether it is Jio or whether it is petrochemical complex, is over. And L&T, what facility we had to create from engineering perspective, is already over. So people ask me, what are you going to invest on? So I said, if I find a fantastic opportunity to acquire, I'll acquire, but to the core, engineering only. I'm not going to acquire 4 more roads and 1 more power plant.
So is there anything that you're looking to acquire? There's a bunch of stressed assets that are on the block at this point in time. Anything that looks interesting from your core business perspective there?
Well, we are just looking at it. We have started looking at it now. And we are in touch with the banks.
Okay.
And if they have anything kind of more suitable to L&T,
what would be most suitable to L&T today?
Well, anything to do with infra building, anything to do with engineering, anything to do with hydrocarbon. But there is no hydrocarbon company other than us.
What about the government strategic divestment program? So would you be interested in the government strategic divestment program of companies like, which have a defense play as well?
Well, we'll look at it when it comes, because there is a lot of talk, but it takes time to really come to the market. But we'll certainly look at that.
BEML would be something that you would consider?
We can. We can.
Have you expressed interest to the government?
No,
not yet.
Because it is not on the market yet.
But they have appointed advisors, but, so would...
A lot of advisors are appointed. We'll see what comes out of it.
But that would be something that you would actively look at?
I think we can look at it.
Okay.
But certainly not Air India.
Yes, you said very clearly aviation is not something that you would consider. But do you believe, are you feeling confident about the Air India divestment taking off, so to speak?
Well, if there is a will, it can take off, because the player could be global, provided simultaneously you also modify the direct...
FDI norms.
Right.
To allow a foreign company to invest in Air India. That could be a possibility we're given to understand. As from the 1st of October now, and I believe that you've already planned a 40-hour week for yourself.
35, 40, yeah.
35, 40-hour week for yourself. The unfinished agenda, as you pointed out, that is going to be priority for you to get that done over the next 2 years.
Yes. Plus, I have a lot of activities on trust, philanthropy. You see, we have 2 trusts, my own trust, which builds hospitals and schools and all that. So there I used to spend like 2-3 hours a week. I had people working, of course, at different places. But I'm going to spend 1 hour a day. That means 5-6 hours, double the time.
Okay.
Similarly, restructuring, I told you, that's going to take away roughly 2 hours a day, because we have a lot of asset or a lot of business to be disposed of. Those which are non-core, and that takes time. Then the real estate. I started real estate 5 years ago. It is come off very well, I would say. And the brand is so good that people trust us. But there are 2 or 3 pain points. I'm going to get rid of that 2-3 pain point in 18 months. And 1st of April 19, I have told Subrahmanyan I'll hand over, because if you try to get rid of these 3 pain points yourself, a lot more other work will suffer.
So 3 pain points within the real estate business is what you hope you will be able to get rid of over the next...
We'll try.
You will try to get rid of over the next 2 years, or less than that?
18 months.
18 months. Okay. Why are they specifically causing you so much pain?
Anything which has, you can talk to any real estate. The number of government permission which are required are so large. Second, the rules are changed. And some of it we got into a crossfire. But we have a way forward now.
Okay.
We have a way forward. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay. Where else can you see the light at the end of the tunnel? I'm focusing more on the divestitures because that clearly, as you articulated, is going to be your focus area. So where else do you see light at the end of the tunnel? You've given me a very specific timeline for the real estate divestitures. Give me some more.
The restructuring is a 30 months period.
Okay.
Within which all the companies which we or businesses we want to transfer or get rid of or close will be finished.
How many are likely to be closed?
9 or 10, not closed. Maybe sold or closed.
Okay. Sold
9
or
or 10.
closed, 9 or 10. Okay. And what is then left balance?
It's still 72. Number of companies will reduce by 2.
Okay. Will reduce by 2.
2.
Okay.
And if we can reorganize, something which Sankaraman and others are doing under my guidance at the moment, is the development of project of power and the development project of infrastructure. If we can restructure that or get rid of it, we get 2 more down. And that's non-core.